everyone, this is Kinga from Cadventure, Solibri's UK partner. I work as a business development executive and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Solibri today, in particular all the ways to communicate issues identified by Solibri Office. As you may remember from our last video on model checking and then the general space stroke rule set, we'll pick up exactly where we have left off just after completing our model checking. So what you can see on your screen right now is Solibri's interface just after we've just finished our model checking. Just to show you an example of how to communicate any issues identified, I'll use two examples from our previous video so that you're familiar with them. The first one that I'd like to talk you through is within the Deficiency Detection, components below and above, components above columns. In the results view at the bottom, you've got column components do not touch above, and there is one occurrence of that. In order to communicate any issues, we need to expand the view until we get the triangle. Once you have the triangle, we can either click on this field here to open up an issue detail, or you can right click and add a slide. Once we do that, we've got the issue detail window. There you go. Going from the top, you can see that we've got the title that has been automatically populated. It's in regards to the column C4. The description tab is completely editable, which means you can add information yourself, or you can use this very handy document icon, which automatically populates a description for you. In the coordination tab, we can choose to reject or accept the issue at hand. Rejecting an issue means that you acknowledge the error and you do understand the need to make changes to it, whereas accepting the error would mean that you accept the issue and you're fine with it being the way it is. In this case, I'd like to reject this issue. And before I continue any further, it's now worth noting what output these communications can do. We can do an Excel spreadsheet, we can do a Word document or a PDF file. However, we can also do a BCF file, which is the BIM collaboration format. Solibri can operate on a version 1, version 2 and version 2.1. Our best advice is to normally check with all the parties within the project that you're working on which version of BCF everyone is using so that you can use the coherent file type. I'm only mentioning this because things like the due date, the stage, and being able to insert multiple snapshots is only a benefit of a version 2.1. Currently myself, I'm operating on version 2.1, so I would like to complete all those boxes here. So the due date I will highlight as the 30th of April, and responsibility I will make a responsibility of the architectural team. I will also put an email address of a person responsible, and that person being myself. There we go. Once you scroll down in the communication bit, but just below, you have snapshots of the issue at hand. So in this case here we have two snapshots for this specific issue. However, I would prefer to have an extra one of a more close-up view just to make sure everyone knows exactly what I'm referring to. So this is the next view I would like to have a snapshot of. So if you press this button here, it will add a third snapshot to our slide. As you can see, we have 3 snapshots. We can also add any extra comments just here in this tab. Scrolling down, there's just further information in regards to the location of the issue and when it's been created and by who. Once you're happy with the amount of detail, extra snapshots and the amount of comments you have included, just close the window. A second example that I would like to show you is the clearance in front of windows and column too close to window component. You might remember that issue from my previous video where columns are too close to the windows, which means it doesn't give the windows enough clearance on either side of them. This is occurring 29 times around a couple of columns around the building. So as you can see, there is 29 separate occurrences. So what I would like to do is open them up all the way until we get the separate triangles, which means we are expecting to get 29 of them. I will do it for this one, so column 0.9. This is the issue that I would like to communicate. This is our issue details window. Same procedure, title has already been populated. I will automatically populate the description. As a quick reminder, I am operating in BCF version number 2.1, so I'm able to assign the due date and responsibilities as well as multiple pictures. So I'd like to show you that just one more time. The due date I'll also select as 30th of March. and responsibility will be specifically Kingo. Scrolling down, we have the communication window. As you can see, we've already got one snapshot inserted of this exact view. However, I would like to get a couple of more different perspectives. So for example, I will zoom in, I'll add a second snapshot. Like I've shown you in my first video, you can add any markups on the model. So this is the markup that I want it to make, and I would also like to take a third snapshot and add it onto my presentation. Once you are happy with all the details, please just close the window. So far I've managed to do 2 examples of how to communicate any issues identified in Solibri Office. I will now go away and do a couple more very quickly just to show you at the end. So it is now a couple of minutes later. I believe I've done 3 or 4 extra issues. So now we should have roughly about 5 or 6 to have a look at. So let's do that. Ideally, what you will do right now is communicate every single one of your issues one by one and make appropriate comments to them. For the sake of today's presentation, we've only done 6 or so. However, like I've mentioned, you would ideally want to have had all of them done at this stage. So to go into your communications, let's go into the communication here and click to add new presentation and select the From Checking Results option. As you can see at the bottom, I have communicated 2 issues from the BIM validation architectural rule set, 3 from the general space check rule set, and 1 from the intersections between architectural components. Let's press OK. There we go. In the issue sorter in the bottom left corner, you can see that we've got issue number 1, issue number 2, and then there's issues number 3, 4, 5, and 6, which are ones I did on my own. At the bottom of your screen in the issues, you can see all various information about each of the issues that have been communicated. So for example, you've got tracking ID, which is the number of your communications. So issue number 1 is tracking ID number 1, and you can see who's responsible for that and what's the title of that certain issue. The next step for us would be to produce a report. So let's head into the window towards the top and press on the report icon. There we go, that's the Create Report window. Anything you export out of Solibri can be exported in various file types. Going from the top, you can export in BCF file format. I know I've mentioned it very briefly previously, but Solibri supports version 1, version 2, and version 2.1. What BCF file type is that it allows you to export any issues that you have communicated in Solibri and import them directly into your BIM software of choice. It's a transport mechanism of getting the issues between different BIM products, so for example between Solibri and the BIM software of your choice. Other file types that Solibri supports is a PDF file, an RTF file, which will on my laptop be a Word document, and an Excel spreadsheet. However, at the bottom you can see that there are templates. So there are templates that you can use if you want to implement branding or your brand's own colors or logos in the reports that you produce. In this case, I will stick to Solibri's branding and Solibri's pictures. First of all, I would like to show you what an Excel spreadsheet looks like if we save it as a report. This should never take too long, but of course it does depend on the amount of issues and snapshots that you have added onto your communication. So that is all done. There we go. So for example, you can see that Solibri's theme is grey and this is the logo, so you can use templates to create it yourself. Excel is a fully editable spreadsheet, so even if you haven't done an issue comment or you haven't updated the due date, you're more than welcome to adapt it here in the Excel spreadsheet itself. As you can see, this is the number 1 issue that we have identified on the 3 snapshots that we have. This is number 2, and so on and so on. As you can see, we've got all the responsibility, stage, and due date going along the top. So this is what it looks like in an Excel spreadsheet. Let me show you in a different file type now. Let's open up a report again and let me show it to you in an RTF file. There we go. So this is what it would look like in rich text format. As you can see, presentation 1 relates to issue number 1, which was the one with the columns not touching the slab above. This is our tracking ID and the automatically populated description that we have made, and all the snapshots along with the comments. That's issue number 2. Or the snapshot. Another file type that I'd like to show you what communications from Solibri look like is a PDF file, so let's save that report and I'll show you any second. This is what a PDF report would look like. Starting with presentation 1, this would be the issue 1. As you can see, this is your automatically populated description, location. Any further comments would also be displayed here. This is our issue number 2 and issue number 3 now, which is one of the ones I have done on my own. The last file type that we have, of course, is the BCF file format in different versions. Usually Excel spreadsheet and BCF file formats are most commonly used in regards to communications from Solibri to your BIM software. So today I've had a chance to show you how to communicate issues identified in Solibri Office and then how to produce reports in different file types like BCF, PDF, RTF and Excel spreadsheet. Please give us a call or drop us an email on the contact details you can see on your screen right now. We've got loads more videos coming up on reviewing your models as well as performing information takeoff, so stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching again.